Well, welcome back, guys. Today we are going to continue our place value unit, and we're going to discuss comparing numbers. Now, y'all get to be the guinea pigs a little bit with this. I'm using a different computer this time, and the computer doesn't have a video camera on it, so I can't video myself on this showing you what I'm doing. So we're going to watch the video, and the video is going to explain to you how we compare numbers. Now remember, in place value, we've already discussed in the first unit the different places that the numbers hold. And each place has a different value. If it asks you for the place, it's asking you for ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. It's asking you for the actual place. If it asks you for the value, you have to look at the digit that is in that place and tell me how much it's worth. So if there's an 8 in the tens place, it's worth 80. If there's a 9 in the thousands place, it's worth 9,000. If there's a 4 in the 10 millions place, it's worth 40 million. Anytime I ask you for the value, you have to give me the digit and the place that it's in. Okay, that was lesson 1. Lesson 2, we started to talk about how each number or each place relates to the next number or the next place. So if I'm in the ones place, how does the ones place relate to the tens place? And we said that the place on the left, the tens place, the place on the left, is 10 times greater the place on the right. So if there is a 1 in the ones place and a 1 in the tens place, that 1 in the tens place is 10 times bigger than the 1 in the ones place, because 1 times 10 equals 10. So that's if the two numbers are the same and they're side by side. If a 5 is beside a 6, that rule doesn't work. But if two 6s are beside each other, that rule works. That is how you look at the relationship between numbers. So you've got your place value on day 1, your relationship between numbers on day 2, and now today we're going to look at how to compare numbers. I'm going to let the video play, and then I'm going to go to the book, and I'm going to walk through the book questions for you before I give you the assignment that we did in class. These are some words that you need to look for today. Greater than, less than, and equal to. In years past, working with your other teachers, you've probably learned that these look like alligator symbols, and the greater than sign is when the alligator's mouth is big towards the bigger number, the first number. The less than sign, the alligator's mouth is towards the smaller, the small part is to the small number, and the big part is to the big number. So sometimes you draw teeth on the inside of them. You just need to know which one is which. Remember, the big mouth goes to the big number.
How do you compare numbers?
So the question we're asking ourselves today is, how do we compare numbers? So here's two different towers that we're going to look at. We're going to look at the Type A 101 tower, and we're going to look at the Willis tower.
When you compare two numbers, you find out which number is greater and which number is less.
So when we're comparing numbers, we got to have a big number and we got to have a small number. Greater means big and less means small.
Which building is taller, the Taipei 101 Tower in Taiwan or the Willis Tower in Chicago?
Now if you look at the picture of those towers, it's obvious that the Type A tower is the largest tower. We talked about this in science. This will be a qualitative observation. There's not any numbers mentioned. Type A 101, I know 101 is a number, but number 101 is not the measurement. Type A 101 is just the name of the building. So making my qualitative observation, I can look at those buildings and tell that the Type A building is bigger. But it's going to give us some numbers in a second, and we'll be able to make our quantitative observation.
The Taipei Tower is 1,670 feet tall. The Willis Tower is 1,450 feet tall. There are symbols that you can use to compare numbers. What does this symbol mean?
Now remember, we said that the small part should point to the small number. So if we use this symbol, the number on the left should be smaller than the number on the right.
This symbol means is less than. This symbol means is greater than. This symbol means is equal to.
Now would be a good time to copy this chart into your journal. Remember, your title today is Comparing Numbers. So if you will, go ahead and copy that chart into your journal. You can pause the video now so that you're able to copy your chart.
You can compare 1,670 and 1,450 using place value blocks. How should you show 1,670 with place value blocks?
Now remember, guys, on the first lesson that we had, we used the place value blocks, and it had the green cubes. The big cube was worth 1,000, so we would have one big cube because there's a 1 in the thousands place. We would have 6 flats, or 6 of the hundreds, because there's a 6 in the hundreds place. We would have 7 rods, or 7 sticks, because there's a 7 in the tens place. But we wouldn't have any units because there's a 0 in the units place. So it should show us a picture of that.
You will use 1,000s blocks, 600s blocks, and 7 tens blocks.
See, look at how smart I am. I said it before the computer did.
How should you show 1,450 using place value blocks?
It's going to be the same thing. You're going to use a 1,000 block, so the 1,000 block will go here. You'll have 4 hundreds flats right here, 5 rods, but there won't be any units.
You will use 1,000s block, 400s blocks, and 5 tens blocks. Now you can compare 1,670 and 1,450.
Now whenever we compare numbers, we're going to look at, and we're going to start in the biggest place value. So you see both of these have 4 numbers that meet our place value, so they're pretty easy to compare. You start in the thousands place, and this is a 1, and this is a 1. So as of right now, our numbers are equal. But then we're going to work our way down through our number. In the hundreds place, you have a 6 and a 4. Those two numbers are the same. One number is bigger than the other. Ask yourself, which number is bigger? And we all know, because we're all very smart, that the 6 is bigger than the 4. So 1,670 is greater than 1,450. So you should use this symbol right here, is greater than, to show that 1,670 is greater than 1,450.
The place value blocks show that 1,670 is greater than 1,450.
Whew, I'm so smart. I don't even know what to do with myself.
So, the Taipei 101 tower is taller than the Willis Tower.
We already decided that. Alright, so that's the video. Remember, you start in your biggest place value and you work your way through to determine what each one is worth, or which one is bigger. Now, here is our bookwork for today. And in our bookwork, I'm going to try to shrink the screen down so that you can see everything that I see on the book. It may be a little small, but do your best to see what you can see, okay? Oh, man. It's not letting me do what I need it to do. Alright, so I'm just going to move the box. I want to move the box so to make it easier for you to see. So, alright, so here's number 1. Number 1 is showing us the place value blocks. And it says that 343 is what to 352? So start in your biggest place. 3 and 3 are equal. So we go to the next number. 4 and 5. Those are not equal. That's a stop sign. You got to figure out which one's smaller. What's smaller, 4 or 5? Think about it. Take a second. Ding! 5 is your bigger number. So it should say 343 is less than 352. Okay? You should write that problem in your journal so that you have it. Write it on the same page that you wrote your notes. Let's look at the next one. 2,561 is what to 2,261? Start with your thousands place. 2 and 2. Those are equal to each other. So go to your next place. 5 and 2. Are 5 and 2 equal? No, they're not equal. 5 is bigger than 2. So 2,561 is greater than 2,261. And that's all you got to do. There's no more comparing there. Let's look at number 3 and number 4, and then I'll tell you what work you need to do tonight. Number 3 says 35,000 is greater than, less than, or equal to 35,100. Now we got to think. Where do we start? That's right, you start in your 10,000s place. So let's look. 3 and 3. Those are equal, so we got to keep moving. 5 and 5. They're still equal. Keep moving. 0 and 1. Uh-oh, there's a difference. What's the difference? You got it. The 1 is bigger than the 0. So your number should say 35,000 is less than 35,100. Now let's look at number 4. 672,444. Is it greater than, less than, or equal to 672,444? Now a lot of you are thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. I just said the same number 2 times in a row. But it's always good to double check and make sure you didn't make a mistake. So start in your 100,000s place. 6, 6, they're the same. 7, 7, they're the same. 2, 2, they're the same. 4, 4, they're the same. 4, 4, they're the same. 4, 4, they're the same. So we went all the way through our numbers, and they're all the same. So 672,444 is equal to 672,444. All right? Now tonight, for homework, you're going to need to do practice page 3-3, because that's something that we did in class. So you need to use your workbook and find practice 3-3, and you're going to need to do that for homework because you were not able to do it with us in class. Practice page 3-3, excuse me, looks like this. This is a classwork grade, but since you were not able to be in class today, I'm going to let you do it at home. Make sure you bring it back to me tomorrow. Practice page 3-3. All you're doing is comparing the numbers. You have, looks like 15 questions on practice page 3-3 that you're going to need to complete. This will be your homework. I'm not going to make you do the homework everyone else is doing because you're having to catch up anyway because you were in GT. So if you will just do practice page 3-3 for homework, you will be good to go. If you get the urge to do everybody else's homework, I passed out a worksheet today that's called Daily Common Core Review 3-3, and Daily Common Core Review has 6 questions. That will just be extra for you because I do not grade homework. But you have to do practice 3-3 because that is a minor grade in the grade book. If you have any questions, remember, don't hesitate to call or don't hesitate to email. I'm happy to help however I can. I look forward to having you back in class tomorrow.